All right, let's just jump right into this. Welcome back to today's Explainer, where we are going to do a complete autopsy on what is easily one of the most hyped up, yet totally misunderstood business models on the internet right now. We're talking about YouTube automation. Now, if you've been online at all lately, you've definitely seen those crazy thumbnails, right? The ones promising you completely passive income, easy money, all without ever having to show your face. Well, today, we are completely stripping away that hype. We're looking strictly at the hard data from our source material to give you the actual inside scoop. We're going to focus heavily on that honest, often ignored failure rate that the so-called gurus always seem to conveniently skip over. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why the vast majority of these channels just flat out fail.
Get this, the source material we're looking at today breaks the fourth wall right out of the gate. They literally say, you are watching a YouTube automation channel right now. The creator actually admits that their own stuff runs entirely on AI voices, stock footage, and completely outsourced production systems. So the info we're unpacking today, it's not coming from some outsider just guessing how the gears turn. It's a completely transparent look from right inside a live automated production machine. It's a pretty smart way to instantly build trust, honestly, just pulling back the curtain like that. But first, we really need to define what this model actually is, because there are so many wild misconceptions out there. Simply put, YouTube automation is a production system. That's all it is. It's a framework where you take all that repetitive, grueling work, writing the scripts, recording the voiceovers, editing the video, making the thumbnail, and you just delegate it. You hand those tasks off to freelancers or AI tools or a mix of both. And the whole reason you do this is so you, the channel owner, can actually step back and focus on the high-level stuff: strategy, quality control, packaging. Let me be super clear here. It is absolutely not some push-button magic machine that just prints money while you take a nap. Which brings us to the brutal reality of this whole thing, and honestly the biggest reason for that massive failure rate we talked about. This business model in its purest form really only works for a tiny minority of people. And who's in that group? Well, it's folks who either have a ton of upfront capital to burn, people with just insane team management skills, or, frankly, people who just get super lucky with their niche and their timing. If you don't have at least one of those three things working for you, the odds are heavily stacked against you.
For most people who jump on this bandwagon and never even make it to monetization, YouTube automation basically just turns into a really expensive education. Think about it. When you buy into the promise of quick, effortless cash, you end up just throwing resources at a system you don't even understand. But knowing this harsh reality before you start, that's actually your biggest advantage. You have to shift your mindset. You're not taking a shortcut, you are building a real business where mistakes cost real money. That mental shift is exactly what separates the winners from the losers here.
So, just how expensive is this education? Let's talk actual numbers. Experts in the space highly advise beginners to budget a minimum of $5,000 just to get the ball rolling. I really want that number to sink in for a second. $5,000. That completely shatters this weird pervasive myth that YouTube automation is a zero-cost hustle. Despite what the flashy gurus tell you, building a hands-off production pipeline requires serious cash up front. If you jump into this undercapitalized, your channel is going to bleed out and fail before it ever even has a chance to find its audience.
So where exactly is all that cash going? Well, according to the data, a single automated video usually costs right around $100 to produce. That $100 has to cover a lot. You're paying freelance scriptwriters, voice actors, video editors, thumbnail designers, plus all the monthly software subscriptions you need to run the whole shebang. When every single upload is coming straight out of your own pocket, $100 a pop adds up incredibly fast, especially when you're at the very beginning and getting 0 views. Now, let's actually do the math on that. If you're following the standard advice, which is uploading 3 high-quality videos every single week just to keep the algorithm happy, you are looking at a terrifying monthly burn rate of about $1,200 to $1,500. And here is the absolute kicker: you are burning through that cash every single month before you have made a single penny in ad revenue. This burn rate is the exact spot where most channels flatline. The creators just literally run out of money before the channel can gain enough traction to pay for itself. This timeline here reveals what I like to call the valley of despair. Look at months 1 through 6. You are earning absolute zero, while you desperately try to hit that monetization threshold. If you somehow survive that, months 6 to 12 is where a good channel might hit, say, 5 to 20,000 subs, bringing in maybe $500 to $3,000 a month. But notice months 12 to 18. That is when channels that actually survive this gauntlet finally start seeing real profit because they've finally paid back all those initial startup costs. Patience is literally the ultimate filter here. It brutally wipes out anyone who isn't mentally and financially prepared to operate at a massive loss for a solid year.
Okay, so let's say you do have the capital and you have the patience. How do you actually avoid failing? It comes down to strategy, and specifically, niche selection. This is absolutely crucial. The data is super clear on this. A kind of mediocre video in a high-demand niche will beat a masterpiece in a saturated niche every single time. Your topic literally dictates your earning cap before you even hit the publish button.
To put that into perspective, let's talk about RPM, which is revenue per thousand views. If you pick a niche like finance, software, or health, advertisers are willing to pay a premium. We're talking anywhere from $8 to $20, sometimes even more, for every 1,000 views. Now compare that to the entertainment niche, which usually only pays out a measly $2 to $5. You could get the exact same number of views on both channels, but the finance channel is going to make 4 to 10 times more cash. So many channels fail simply because they picked a topic where the math made it literally impossible to break even on that $100 video cost.
But when you do get that niche right, the payoff is huge. A decent mid-level channel in a lucrative niche hitting 1 million views a month, that can realistically pull in about $4 to $8 a month just from ad revenue. And the crazy part is, once you add in affiliate marketing and brand sponsorships, you can easily double that number. But again, I can't stress this enough. This highly scalable income is only for the folks who survive that massive initial cash burn and that grueling year-long wait we just talked about. Now, even if you nail your niche and have the budget, the whole game is fundamentally shifted. Another huge reason channels fail today is that they're still playing by the old rules. Back in 2022, content farming was all the rage. You'd grab a templated script, slap together some random stock clips, throw a robotic voice over it, and boom, you get views. But our 2026 data shows that garbage just completely fails to hold viewer attention now. The algorithm demands real quality. To win today, you need what's called a hybrid model. This means using AI strictly to speed things up, but relying heavily on actual human oversight to make sure the video is actually, good and valuable.
So what does this new hybrid model actually look like? Well, it relies on a very specific toolkit that's brought costs and turnaround times way down. Creators are leaning on ChatGPT to brainstorm and accelerate the scripting process. They're using 11 Labs for those crazy, realistic, human-sounding voiceovers, and they're jumping into platforms like Pictory and InVideo AI to automate the really tedious first pass of the video edit. These tools are total game changers. With the right humans steering the ship, what used to take a full week of going back and forth with freelancers can literally be knocked out in a single day.
Which brings us to the final, most important takeaway from today's explainer. Based on everything we just went through, that $5,000 starting budget, the terrifying 12-month wait to actually see a profit, and the absolute necessity of picking a high-leverage niche, you really have to ask yourself a tough question. Do you actually have the capital and a full year of unwavering patience to build a real sustainable business? Or are you honestly just looking for a shortcut? Because the data is crystal clear. YouTube automation is a real scalable thing. But if you treat it like some get-rich-quick scheme, you are guaranteed to end up as just another failed channel in the autopsy report. Really think about that before you spend your first $100.